Welcome back. You're watching NewsX. My name is Vineet Malhotra. Well, the Supreme Court has released the inquiry report filed by the Delhi High Court Chief Justice Devendra Kumar Upadhyay into the controversy involving High Court Justice Yashwant Verma. In his report, the Delhi High Court Chief Justice said he is of the prima facie opinion that the entire matter warrants a deeper probe. The Supreme Court also released the response of Justice Yashwant Verma, who has denied these allegations and said that it clearly appeared to be a conspiracy to frame him and malign his reputation. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has officially released videos from inside Justice Verma's residence where one can see stacks and stacks of Indian currency. Well, we'll talk about this. But first up, we have someone very special joining us. Mr. Mukul Rohtgi, former Attorney General of India, is joining us on the show to talk more about this. Mr. Rohtgi, thank you so much, sir, for taking out the time and speaking to us. Sir, this is a huge concern. This is perhaps a huge concern for the judiciary. This is a huge concern for the polity. But as a citizen also, maybe as a journalist also, as a citizen also, I'm deeply concerned as to what's happening over here. Obviously, the investigation report, all of that will take time. But on the face of it, this does seem to be a problem which needs further investigation. What's your opinion, sir, of this mishap, if we can call it that, with reports coming in that money that was recovered, sir, was to the tune of 20 crore rupees in cash?
I have also been following it, this episode in the last couple of days. I am equally concerned because I am also a stakeholder in the system of dispensation of justice. I have spent 45 years in this profession. But let me tell you, and I will pose some of these questions, I find that more questions are unanswered than what appears on the record. Both the sides, if I may say so, seem to be kind of evenly balanced. Let us look at the angle of corruption. If indeed this money was found in gunny bags in the house of the judge, even if it is found in the outhouse or servant rooms, it's a very serious issue because it is not a normal issue. It is not normally found in judges' houses. So the judge has a lot of explanation to do. That is one issue. If you look at it from the judge's point of view, what he has said, he says, firstly, he doesn't know where that so-called sacks came from in the outhouse. He has no control over who's going, who's coming in that outhouse. There are hundreds of people walking in, walking out. Then there is a video showing burning notes. The police is also there. If there were half-burnt notes also or partially burnt notes, why were they not seized? Why was not a panchnama made? Where are those notes? Because the judge says when he came the next day, there was nothing to be found. How has everything disappeared? A forensic report would have said what those notes were, are they fake notes, are they genuine notes? Now, the mystery deepens because the Chief Justice of the High Court says that he was in Lucknow on the 15th and his principal secretary went to the house. If he went to the house in the morning of 15th, and therefore what did he see there? Was there any rubbish? Were there notes? If they were not there, it wasn't cleaned out? How is it that that basic evidence has disappeared? There can't be a murder without finding the body.
Absolutely, sir.
How is it that a senior officer of the police, including the commissioner, informed the Chief Justice of the High Court about this incident, but there is no material seized, there is no even sample seized? Normally it would have gone to a malkhana, it would have been under a receipt. Then why was the action taken only on the 20th? What was happening between the 15th and the 20th? So, there are so many puzzling issues. And I am not taking sides either in favor of corruption or in favor of the judge. But I personally feel that this judge's inquiry is not going to yield much. What you require is a police inquiry. What you require is forensic inquiry. Forensic, suppose, it may sound fantastic, but suppose I want to frame somebody. I get a sack full of genuine notes and 3 sackfuls of fake notes and put it in somebody's house or somebody's dicky in a car and blow it up.
Right,
in a sense, blow up the issue. Now, these are very, very serious issues. 3 judges coming from different areas, and find out what the position is, where the judge has denied everything, the other side is saying there is a video. I have seen the video also. Some notes are visible in the video, full notes are not visible. Therefore, ultimately, according to me, the Chief Justice has done the right thing in withdrawing work from the suspect judge.
But sir, there was much made about the initial reaction which came about, that was transferring this judge back to the Allahabad court.
You're right. That is one more puzzling issue, because mere transfer can't help. Because if it is an open and shut or a near open and shut case of corruption, then sending one person from one high court to another cannot help.
Correct, sir.
You require stronger action. But the stronger action came, whether it was because of media or people's voices, it did come. And withdrawing work was the right thing, pending a speedy investigation. Now, a judge is also entitled to put forth his side of the picture. And that also will come out only in the investigation. So the correct thing is, there should be a police investigation, and it should be done at the earliest under the gaze of no less than the Chief Justice of India. Periodic reports should be given, so that दूध का दूध या पानी का पानी, कहीं तो इसका फैसला निकलेगा. Otherwise, judge की reputation is damned. And I can tell you, as far as the learned judge is concerned, I have appeared in hundreds of cases before that court. I found him to be an excellent, hardworking and clever judge. Now that अगर उन्होंने कुछ नहीं किया और ये कुछ गड़बड़ है, तो he also has the right to clear his name. But his name has been damned anyway. So I don't know what is the end, but the ultimate thing is, it should be swiftly done. And let me end by saying, as I have repeatedly said, we need to fix the system of appointment of judges. Collegium system is not correct, it is opaque. NJSC was in the right.
So that was in fact going to be my next question to you. The collegium system also comes into play here, that it renders a lot of immunity and impunity to the selection as well as the classification of judges. That in itself is skewed.
Say one more thing. As I said, the original system was that the government appoints judges in consultation with the Chief Justice. This has been turned on its head by the Supreme Court, that consultation means concurrence. This was not correct. Nowhere in the world judges appoint judges. There has to be a broad-based committee to include public men, men of probity, men of standing from society, etc., etc. That was tried in NJSC, it was struck down. I think it is time to bring it back in some form or the other. Number one. Number two, Parliament needs to seriously take a call, because the process of removal of the higher judiciary is only by impeachment under the Constitution. Impeachment is a super slow process and very, very difficult to achieve. No impeachment has occurred in the last 75 years. It requires 100 MPs of Lok Sabha or 50 of Rajya Sabha to move a motion. The motion will be admitted after a debate. After that, another committee is appointed by the Speaker. That committee has to then give a report. It's a full-blown inquiry, including examination, cross-examination, etc., etc. That report has again to go back to the House. It has to be debated. 2/3 of the members sitting and voting in the House have to vote. So, that also requires an immediate relook. Had it been a case of, let's say, a junior engineer of a municipal body and money was found, he would be in jail the next day. Now here, yes, judges require immunity, they require a cover, because people will attack them because of their nature of jobs every day. A disgruntled litigant will file a complaint, as they do. So you require a cover and some immunity. But it cannot be the absolute extreme end of the spectrum, where ultimately, impeachment doesn't happen. You take the case of Nirmal Yadav, a judge in Punjab. Some money was found at her doorstep. Inquiry commenced. It is still going on. That case is still going on. 12 years have gone by. The judge is also retired. So I say, it's absolute lip service. So Parliament, government, Judiciary, and the lawyers, stakeholders should get together, and there should be a cohesion in a committee to find out what is the way forward.
So one last question before we let you go, sir. India is hailed and celebrated as a judicial democracy. What does this taint do to the confidence of the common man on the streets who depends on the judiciary to serve justice, when other departments, when other pillars of democracy fail?
Any taint is a serious blow to the heart. The higher the blow goes, the weaker the system at the heart will be. I am very sad that this episode has occurred. Therefore, it is time for everybody to put their heads together to streamline a system to provide swift relief. If it is an errant judge, removal. If it is a frame-up, immediately his reputation should be restored and not harmed. Because please remember, a reputation of 30-40 years can become mud in a matter of 5 minutes on the national media. That is the power of the media. Therefore, it should not be seen as a mere sensational case. And as I said, I repeat, every blow is very, very harmful to the structure, which in any case is under great stress. Stress of the number of cases which are pending in courts.
Right,
therefore, a swift remedy is the answer. Thank you.
Mr. Rothke, appreciate you joining us, sir. Thank you so much for speaking with NewsX. All right, let's keep this conversation going. Joining us on the program is Mr. Sumit Peer, senior political commentator, Shamshavish Rain, Supreme Court lawyer, also with us on the program, Advocate Dr. Ajay Kumar Pandey, Supreme Court advocate, also joins us. Last but by no means the least, KV Dhananjay, Supreme Court lawyer, also with us on the program. Mr. Dhananjay, I'll begin with you. Well, this is absolutely a shock. This is absolutely something which has, put a spotlight on the judiciary in a very negative, in a very wrong way. Like Mr. We just heard from Mr. Rothke, also went on to say that, it takes 20, 30, 40 years to cement a reputation, and perhaps it takes 5 minutes to ruin it. And that's exactly what has happened with the Justice Verma as well. But the fact of the matter is, Mr. Dhananjay, that these are serious allegations. These basically question the celebration that India has been in fact having for so long, that it's India's judiciary that's holding on to everything together.
What we are witnessing is something that's very extraordinary. We haven't seen anything like this in the 75 years of our independence. Not that we saw anything before that. It's just that in independent India, we have not witnessed anything like this, and this certainly is.
Mr. Dhananjay, there seems to be a problem with your network. We can't see your video. I would request you to please log off and log in again. Let me open Sumit Peer into this conversation as well. Sumit, are you concerned about these developments as a citizen? There have always been murmurs, Sumit. There have always been backdoor conversations about corruption in judiciary, and now something has come out in the open. Crores of rupees have been found, and these are not single-digit numbers that we are talking about here, Sumit. These are double-digit numbers. There is also a call on social media that all the decisions that Justice Verma has been a part of for the past few decades, they should be scrutinized again. And of course, Sumit, let's also revisit the reaction the Supreme Court had. Chief Justice Khanna transferring him back to Allahabad, which was also met with a lot of disapproval, saying that, is Allahabad okay to have corrupt judges and Delhi is not? So obviously the signals that have come out and the way in which this has been handled is absolutely disastrous for our judiciary at this point in time. What do you have to say, Sumit?
Vineet, thanks for having me on your show. I think this is one of the most important debates what we have been having for years now, because let's not look at this accident or incident in isolation. Let's not look at even at a 15-20 crore ka bribery ka case. This is a case which has shook the collective conscience of 1.4 billion people. This is a case which has questioned the judiciary of India. This is the case which has questioned the legal systems of Bharat. This is the case which is going to impact Your stock exchanges, this is the case which is going to impact the inflow of investment into the country. This is the case which will determine how many people will invest in India and how much of money will come out of India, how much of money can potentially go out of India. Because when you are looking at a country, when you are looking at the investment, the most important thing, what we always thought and what we always stood at, Indian judiciary always stood up to, was impartial judiciary. This one case has shaken everything. Today, the common man on the ground is shaken. कहता यार सब बिके हुए हैं. I mean, and after you see the kind of things would have happened, it's only a newspaper which reports it after 7 days. No seizure happened, no picture, no photography, and the judge says ki bhai, this is not my mine, this was a storehouse, I don't control it. By that logic, if you have a farmhouse, if some cash is found there, you can always say, Gurkha se pucho. If it's found in your car, say driver se pucho. It's found in your office, bolo chaparasi se pucho. I mean, there's no way I can keep 15 crores in my jacket and move away. Now, with these things happening, and this here and there approach, okay, we'll transfer you to Allahabad. And incidentally, the same gentleman has been also named in FIR, which was caused by Honorable Supreme Court in 2024. It was about a sugar mill, 150 crore case, Sambhavi sugar mill, I think registered in 2018 or 2019, which was just caused in 2024. I'm not casting aspersions, but I'm saying this puts a serious question mark on the way judiciary functions. This puts a very serious question mark on the collegium system. And Mr. Rohtagi is right that the time has come. A full reform is needed. You already refined the judicial system, Nyaya Pranalika. Next logical reform is police reform and a judicial reform. Only by refining the judicial Nyaya Pranalika, that's not going to deliver you the results. With this kind of thing happening, tell me if it is you or me in this case, where will we be today? We'll be in the jail. Why this kid gloves approach? Why this different approach? And I completely concur with Mr. Rohtagi when he's going to say that 3 internal judges are going to find nothing. Now, you need police, you need CBI, you need those forensic experts, you need to look through the CCTVs, you need to question people, you need to pick up those the people who cleaned, you need to talk to that fire tender, you need to talk to all set of people and find what happened. They have to take their testimonies, there has to be a FIR registered. Why even as on date there is no FIR registered? Because you look, it's not about 15-20 crores. There have been much bigger scams in India. Here, 1.4 billion people are looking up to you. And if their collective conscience is shaken, one of the pillars of our democracy, which is judiciary, and the trust on judiciary can get shaken. Media here has done a fantastic job. I must compliment media from bringing up into the forefront. But now it is the job of the executive and the judiciary to get together and don't linger it on. It needs a time-bound redressal and a closure. Let the Honorable Chief Justice of India declare by peace then 40 days, 60 days, 90 days. We'll close this every day, give the press briefing. Let them in the parliament this talk be talked about, debated about, and use this opportunity to refine and define the judicial system of India, which needs our all. And Mr. Rohtagi was right. Nowhere in the world judges appoint judges. And this approach, why a 3-bench committee? Why police has not registered FIR? Why you have not directed the police to go and register FIR? Even today, the police was sent to the Honorable Judge's house because, for what? Not to go and question or see anything. They were complaining there are media vans which are outside my home. Bhai, inko zara bhagao. So police went there, Delhi police went there, a commissioner level officer went there to just ask media guys to move away from the house. If this is happening, you are challenging the model and idea of Bharat under Prime Minister Modi, which has reached the limits. Let's not bring the collective disaster to the country by the virtue of one person who has possibly done something wrong. Let's get together and fight this menace and use this opportunity to refine and define the system in the shortest possible time. Time taken is debacle and disaster. The minimum time you spend in it or give it a closure, you will restore the faith of people, not in India, but internationally as well. And that is what this country needs at this point of time, Vineet.
Mr. KV Dhananjay is back with us. Mr. Dhananjay, obviously this raises a huge concern here. As citizens, as lawyers also, you must be concerned that this is going to put the judiciary into a lot of disrepute. And obviously there is some face saving to be done as well, but a lot of people are also disappointed with the way how the collegium responded on what to do with this judge.
Well, yes, I think the public certainly is bound to be disappointed, but I think there are these strange circumstances in this case. If you start looking out for actual events in the past which might match closely to this, you probably may not find any at all. Because the facts here are so strange, circumstances are so strange. If you look at the release put out by the Supreme Court, and of course I think we all need to commend and applaud the Supreme Court Collegium for having done what it has done. because a lot of people were not really expecting this. More so after, they got to hear from the Supreme Court collegium 2 days ago that this reporting in the media was, of course, a rumor and all that. So what the Supreme Court collegium has done is to give out photographs, and that is how I think we are here today discussing this matter with greater certainty which was practically absent 2 days ago. I think the way to look at it is, if you go through the communication carefully, you will find that the Chief Justice of the Delhi High Court was himself alerted to this event at 4:50 p.m. on the 15th. Now, what all had happened before that is there was a fire, reporting of fire at 11:30 p.m. on the 14th night in a storeroom, and the judge, of course, says that it should not be treated as part of his residence because other people also had access to it. And then the Chief Justice is informed next day evening, but before he is even informed the next day, that's on the 15th morning, the debris is removed. So all of this cash is gone. So the Chief Justice gets to know after the fact, that is after the damage has already been done. What is the damage here? The damage is cash. It's everything. Burnt cash or whatever cash is everything. And if that's not available, you know what, there's a setback to the investigation. So the fact is, it was damaging already, the damage has already been done. And what the Chief Justice has done as part of the collegium, I think thereafter is commendable in the sense they've sought explanation from the judge in question that the damage has already been done. And so the judge has gone on to explain his version. And thereafter, the collegium has set up a 3-judge committee. Now, the 3-judge committee may not be able to accomplish that much because eventually the question arises as to what happened to the cash in question. So it can only be unearthed to the resort to Chapter 12 of the Criminal Procedure Code, the investigating powers. So an FIR has to be drawn. But I think the judges are, making sure that they have all sides of the story, all sides of the episodes first heard before they ask for an initiation of an FIR. I think that is fair. And of course, the public might not agree with this aspect, and the public might say that there should have been an FIR immediately lodged and all that. When the police come into anyone's house, when the fire police come into anyone's house, they are less likely to, take note, or they certainly didn't have the power to seize these notes because it was not really their jurisdiction at all. They would have made a note of it, and because of the huge volume of cash, obviously they made a note, and this went out of their department. It went to the crime department, and it reached the police commissioner's office, who again did not seem to, who probably could have alerted the Chief Justice of Delhi High Court much earlier, and had he done that, perhaps the disappearance of the cash, would have been avoided. As a lawyer, I find this event is the one that will test the credibility of the institution, because we will have no credibility whatsoever if even after a discovery of this nature, a discovery where photographs have come from no less than the collegium itself, there is not going to be an FIR and there is not going to be an investigation. But nevertheless, investigation, of course, can be initiated on a robust ground. But we also have to be mindful of the criminal law, the rules of evidence, and all of that. The judge in question here, Justice Verma, says that this cash was stored, apparently alleged cash, in his view, was stored in a room where servants could enter in, members of the CPWD, the Central Public Works Department, could enter in. And if so many people have access to a place, then it would be nearly impossible in law to put culpability on the judge in question. Because law when law makes possession of something a crime, the law presupposes that the possession is somewhat exclusive, and then the person in possession has the ability to control who cannot come into possession of the property. This, I think, aspect, is something that we must take note of. And the 3-judge committee obviously will have to conclude their task as soon as possible, or for that matter, if they want to continue further, they at least have to make a conclusion that so far as finding out about the disappeared money, it is important that an FIR be drawn, and the registrar of the Delhi High Court registers an FIR in this regard, and an investigation is carried out. An investigation being carried out is not necessarily going to mean that the judge will be eventually found culpable, or for that matter, the liability, the criminal liability, will be fastened upon the judge. The judge is coming out with his version, which, of course, there are two objective facts here, which is the judge was not there at the time when the fire broke out. And the next morning when the cash was removed, again the judge was not there. He reached his residence only on the evening of the 15th. the judge has taken is a defense that the criminal law readily affords to him, the constitution readily affords to him.
Okay,
And
let me,
that's
we have a
what-
paucity of time, so let me also rope in Shamshavish into this conversation. Shamshavish, obviously a lot can be said about what the judge said and, whether this cash was accessible to other people as well. I believe if this cash was accessible to the servants and the CPWD, there wouldn't have been any cash in this particular room. What do you make of this big issue that has come up concerning the judiciary?
Well, I would think that looking into the complete story and the kind of work that I'm actually dealing with, that's a criminal law. So I would say that it, as Mr. Rodgi said, it takes years to build a name and it takes a second to actually ruin it. So it would be too early for all of us to talk about it since the inquiry is actually going on. There would be a proper CBI inquiry happening over it, and then a complete story will actually come out. If we all keep on talking about it, it will actually ruin the complete story. And it's actually pretty easy to make a allegation and then everyone keeps on talking. Though there are documents, the video is there. There are different stories that's been going on in the news and media. But yes, it takes time because the place where these all judges have been sitting, it's a very such kind of a place that there's a lot of pressure on them. You actually never know who would want to ruin his reputation, or is he is bad in itself, or not. Because when you are at that stage, you are living in a government accommodation, you know that you have a lot of staff with you, be it a mali, a clerk, or a steno and all. So if you are doing a crime, I mean taking a bribe of this huge amount, you would prefer to purchase a land and not take so much of actually amount and keep it at your place. But then again, it takes time. Let the CBI inquiry happen and let the court inquiry happen. Let them come out with it, and then it would be better for us as advocates also to talk about it, and then leave a impression. Because what all we are making statements here, everyone are watching us, and if a lawyer makes a very loose statement, it will leave a very bad impression that the judiciary is bad, and the lawyers also knows a lot about it. So yes,
Okay.
good that we all are talking about it, but let's make it a very limited conversation, so that the trust from the judiciary is not taken away, and the lawyers
Okay.
also know that.
All right. Let me get Advocate Pandey into this conversation as well. Advocate Pandey, we have a paucity of time. Your quick thoughts on what's going to become of this case. Is this something which is going to be slipped under the carpet eventually, or do you think this is something which is going to serve as a catalyst when it comes to the reforms in our judiciary?
There is two things very clear. At the one hand, you criticize bulldozer justice, you criticize encounter justice, and here because just a judge is involved, the legal fraternity is involved, you want a bulldozer justice. Delegation is not conviction. There is a set procedure of law. There are so many judgments, and Chief Justice of India has acted very promptly and acknowledged the complaint, took the action, colloquium is set in the motion, investigation is under process. Even if it has to be a CBI inquiry, is anybody bothered to find out from Delhi police that such a request was made to CGI? No, no such request has yet come. So even a bureaucrat enjoys certain kind of protection. Here you are talking of a judge who performs his duty. I'm not giving him a clean check, but what I am asking is keeping his sensitive position in view. Keeping the probity of the entire judiciary.
Okay,
it is not the
Mr.
question
Ramakant
of
Gaur is
individual.
also there with us.
It
Mr.
is
Gaur?
the question of the
Mr. Gaur, quick thoughts from you, sir. We have a paucity of time, sir.
Thank you.
Go on, Mr. Gaur. So your reading of this case.
See, when we are talking about judiciary versus common man, and we are saying the sanctity of judiciary is at the stake and judge might have been framed, undoubtedly there is a proposition: any accused who is not convicted is not guilty and he is presumed innocent. But the basic thing is, where is the FIR? Where is the initiation of investigation?
Correct.
You are talking about the investigation by 3 judges. The judges are judges who look at the material available with them and then they announce the judgment. As a matter of fact, they are not skilled in the investigation. They cannot collect the evidence and they cannot go into the field and find out who has been creator of this money, how this money reached. These 3 judges of different high courts would not do this.
All right, sir.
Rishabji, 3 things. There are 3 very important things which needs to be ruminated at this juncture.
So unfortunately, we've run out of time, but appreciate your passion in this important development. We'll have to take a short break. We in fact will be bringing you more on this pressing issue in just a few minutes. We'll be right back.